The following story has been brought to you by StoriesToInspire.org.
Early on in the establishment of the Panovich Yeshiva in Bnei Brak, there was a particular bacher, was a wonderful fellow, and he got engaged, and the simcha was great and wonderful. The issue was that her parents and his parents were aniyim merudim. They were poor, destitute, perhaps they were survivors, they had nothing. And in order for this young couple to get married, forget about the wedding and the expenses, they needed a place to live. And no one could afford to pay for anything. And the sad thing is the wedding kept getting pushed off because unless they had a plan of where they're going to live, what are they supposed to do? They're going to live in the dorm? But what's really interesting is that the Chazon was always smiling and he was always happy. And people would stop and say to him, what are you smiling about? Why are you so happy? You're supposed to get married and your wedding keeps getting pushed off. And there is no good sikui that you're going to get a dira. So what do you mean? I have emunah shalema. I have 100% bitachon in the Rabbi Shalom that he's going to give me a dira. He takes care. Ritzayin yirei of yasna. At the right time, Hashem will provide me with a dira. When Rabbi Shmuel Rozovsky heard about this, Bachar Shmuel Rozovsky was Yeshiva in Panovich, he called him in and he said to him, do what kind of dira? And the guy says, two-bedroom dira. Rabbi Shmuel says, no. If you have bitachon HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Hayad Hashem Tikter, you can do anything. I want you to have bitachon for a magnificent, luxurious, massive apartment. Bachar says, Rabbi, he goes, I'm telling you, it's what you got to do. Fast forward a few weeks, the Chazon Ish calls him in and says to him, I heard about your situation. He knew the Chazon Ish. I want you to set a date for your chasna. But what's going to be, Rabbi? I don't have an apartment. You have bitachon, Hashem will come through. You do the hishtadlus, you show Hashem you're in. They set a date for the wedding. A few weeks before the wedding, there's a knock at the door of the Chazon Ish. It's an elderly gentleman who the Chazon Ish knew well from Europe, a fellow who had built the Chazon Ish's apartment for him, a very wealthy American balabas. He says, I want you to know something, that I live in the United States and I made a lot of money after I left Europe. But for the last year or two, you know, I've come to visit you. I'm living in this gorgeous, gorgeous apartment in Gush Dan. Problem is, my whole family's in the United States. I tried to do it. It's not working. I'm moving back to the United States. Let my son set there. But I have this beautiful apartment, and it's going to be empty. What should I do with it? Do you have any good person, a deserving person, a ben Torah that I could give it to? The Chazon Ish says, oh, I do 100%. And he says the name of this bach. Fellow thanks to Chazon Ish, and he walks outside, and he goes, it's not enough to go on. The Chazon Ish was, but I'm going to go to the Panovich. And he goes to the Panovich and he says the same thing. I have this apartment. I'm going back to the United States. Do you know anyone that... The Panovich Rav says, this bacher's name. The guy says, if the Chazon Ish and the Panovich Rav say this bacher's name, he's the right guy. And the bacher gets a gorgeous, massive, luxurious dira, just like Rabbi Shmuel Rozovsky told him to hope and to pray for. More than that, the owner paid for the water bill and the electric bill and the gas bill and the repairs, and the bacher lived there. This young man lived there scot-free for a bunch of years. When finally it was time for the fellow and his family to take back the apartment, this young man was offered a beautiful stellar, a beautiful position, and it came along with an apartment, and he had nothing to worry about. You have to understand something. When you live like the Yoichle Haman, when you have that bitachon, beredes hatal al hamachana, Hashem showers your machana with parnasa. Kadosh Baruch Hu gives you lechem. Kadosh Baruch Hu gives you what you need, ready, easy, prepared.
Enjoyed this story? Come again. Bring a friend. StoriesToInspire.org